What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 10 best NASCAR Cup Series teams of the 2022 season. We'll go from 10th to 1st. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. In the number 10 position, we have the only team on this list that did not score a victory, Colleague Racing. Colleague Racing in 2021 was a part-time organization, actually scored a victory at the Indianapolis Road Course. But they were not expecting when they announced they went full-time to have two cars. They were not expecting to really win a lot of races. The 31 car was driven by Justin Haley this year, and the 16 car had three different drivers, that being Noah Gragson, A.J. Allmendinger, and Daniel Hemrick. Now, Colleague Racing started off the year a little bit quiet, but as the year progressed, I think Colleague Racing got much stronger, and that's why they ended up on this list. A.J. Allmendinger, who will be going full-time, of course, in 2023 with Colleague Racing, he had a very solid end to the year in that number 16 car. And Justin Haley had a lot of top 10s and a lot of top 15s, probably one of the most impressive drivers in the whole organization. Colleague Racing, though, in 2023 will be looking to build on that and improve and score victories, which I think they will have a really good chance of getting that done, especially with A.J. Allmendinger coming over to the team to drive full-time in the Cup Series, even though he drove from the Xfinity. He would drive full-time in the 16 car. I expect pretty big improvements in Colleague Racing in 2023, but 2022, they had a very solid season. In the number 9 position, we have RFK Racing. Going into 2022, expectations were very, very high for RFK, and a big reason is because Brad Keselowski was going to be joining as an owner-driver of the organization. Brad Keselowski was coming off a very decent 2021 season with Team Penske. A lot of people thought that this team was going to become a very solid team and make the playoffs. They did not end up doing that in 2022, and they kind of struggled throughout this year. So much that even though Brad Keselowski did get that 100-point penalty, Brad Keselowski would not have gotten into the top 20 points even without the couple major penalties they assessed. So they started the year off very, very struggling. But near the end of the year, Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher really started showing up. Chris Buescher was really strong on the road courses this year. And also, Brad Keselowski did have some good runs as well, but got a couple DQs. But near the end of the season, they started showing a lot more pace. So much that Chris Buescher actually picked up a victory at Bristol, which is a big reason why they're even on this list. They had a very solid end of the year, and they'll be looking to build on. I think they got a good chance to get it done. They'll be looking to build onto that heading into 2023 and looking to do much better. In the number 8 position, we have Petty GMS Motorsports. Now, Petty GMS Motorsports is kind of a Jekyll and Hyde story. On one hand, you had Eric Jones. Eric Jones had a very strong season. He had, I think, like 4 or 5 top 5s and like 13 top 10s in the season. Had such a good year that he actually scored a win in the Southern 500. And in the regular season points, he would have been a top 15 driver in the points, and at points was contending for the top 10 there. And if not for the penalties they received at Pocono, Eric Jones would probably had a chance at one point to be in the top 10. The same thing could not have been said for Ty Dillon, however. Ty Dillon really struggled this season. He only got 2 or 3 top 10s throughout the year, failed to score even a top 5 finish, and finished 28th or 29th in points. He was so just frustratingly not that good that he got fired at the end of the season and will be replaced by Noah Gragson. Now, with Jimmy Johnson joining the team as a co-owner of the organization, a driver of the team, I do think that Petty GMS is a team that's headed toward a bright future, and Noah Gragson will be taking over that 42 car next year. I just think Petty GMS has a lot of work to do, but they were a team that showed some pace and some progress, and they'll be looking to improve onto that heading into 2023, and they'll be wishing and hoping they can get that done. So I think Petty GMS has a lot of potential, but we'll see what happens with Petty GMS heading into 2023. In the number 7 position, we have 2311 Racing. 2311 Racing from 2021 to 2022, they showed a lot of improvement. Now, at the beginning of the year, 2311 Racing did struggle a little bit. Yes, they got a win at Kansas, which Kurt Busch ended up winning, but they also had a lot of kind of iffy runs. Now, Kurt Busch did have some better runs than Bubba Wallace. But near the middle portion at the end of the season, Bubba Wallace really started stepping up. So much that Bubba Wallace actually ended up scoring a victory near the end of the season at Kansas Speedway. Now, unfortunately, he did get suspended at Texas after the crash with him and Larson at Texas Motor Speedway. After that big wreck, he got suspended for Homestead, which I think he could have had a shot to win that. But 2311 Racing really improved. Now going into next year, unfortunately, Kurt Busch will not be driving for the team on the full-time basis. There's a chance he could come back part-time if he's medically cleared, but he's basically retired from full-time racing. In his place is going to be Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick's a very talented driver who's jumping away from Richard Childress Racing. I really believe that 2311 Racing can improve on that. They got 2 wins this year, which I think is a major thing, and they'll be looking to improve on that heading into next season. I think 2311 is a solid team, and they'll be looking to build on that heading into next year. In the number 6 position, we have Stewart-Haas Racing. Now, from 2021 to 2022, I think Stewart-Haas actually took some major steps forward, despite what a lot of people say. However, they weren't major steps. They just took baby steps this year. 2021 was a very struggling year for Stewart-Haas Racing, and they just were not that great. In 2022, they improved. Chase Briscoe picked up his first career Cup Series victory at Phoenix and actually was able to make it to the round of 8 and nearly made it to the championship 4 after a pretty chaotic finish near the end at Martinsville, but got beat in the round of 8 after getting penalties and kind of dropping back at a pretty bad home set. Kevin Harvick scored 2 victories in 2022, where he won those races back-to-back at Richmond and Michigan. I think other than that, though, Eric Almirola's kind of hit or miss, had some good runs, and then Cole Custer had a bad run, and now he's racing in the Xfinity Series for Stewart-Haas Racing. They're going to need to build on it, and they've got Ryan Preece joining in 2023. It also potentially could be the last years in Stewart-Haas Racing's career, not only for Kevin Harvick, but also for Eric Almirola. SHR will need to be looking to improve heading into 2023, but they had a pretty decent year, and they will be looking to hopefully improve as an organization, which I think they're going to have a chance to get that done. In the number 5 position, we have Richard Childress Racing, also known as RCR. Richard Childress Racing had actually a really strong year. Their best year, I think, they've had since around 2013. Outside of 2014, when Ryan Newman was able to make it to the championship 4 off extreme consistency. Now, why do RCR have a great year? One big reason, Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick scored 3 wins in 2022, so he had a great year. Here's the problem. Both drivers, Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick, got eliminated in the round of 16, which is one of the reasons why they're a little bit lower. But also, they had contract talks for Tyler Reddick announced to be going to 2311 Racing in 2024, and I do think that it did end up affecting the performance of Richard Childress Racing. That being said, though, they did show some pretty big signs of improvement this year, and they have Kyle Busch, of course, joining the team in 2023. So they'll be looking to improve on that, and RCR will be looking to become a top-tier team like they were when Dale Earnhardt was around. I think Kyle Busch got potential to get that done, and they'll be looking to join up and have a great year with the team in 2023. In the number 4 position, we have Joe Gibbs Racing. Joe Gibbs Racing was also kind of very similar to other organizations like 2311 Petty GMS, was a Jekyll and Hyde story. They were very up and down. On one hand, you have Christopher Bell, who had a really good season. Now, at the beginning of the year for Christopher Bell, he did have a lot of problems where he was at one point outside the top 30, 4 or 5 races in the year. But Christopher Bell became one of the most consistent drivers and was probably overall the best driver in the playoffs. He also ended up scoring 3 victories in the season, including 2 clutch victories at the Charlotte Roval, and also the other race being at Martinsville, and got a win earlier near at New Hampshire. They'll be looking to improve on it for Christopher Bell as he returns. Denny Hamlin is next we're talking about. Denny Hamlin had an up and down year. He struggled at the beginning of the year, got a win at Richmond, but struggled. But then as season progressed, Hamlin got better, also won the Coke 600. But Hamlin did progress, and he definitely did end up getting better and was very good on the mile and a half. And there's a lot of question about his future after 2023, but he'll be looking to improve. Now let's talk about Mark Truex Jr. Mark Truex Jr. was 5th or 6th in the regular season points near the end of the year. But you wouldn't believe that with his performance. Mark Truex Jr. did not win a race for the first time since 2000, and I believe 2014 was the last time he failed to win a race. That was the first time he's not won. MTJ's kind of struggled at points this year too, and we're looking to hopefully improve in potentially his final season. And finally, Kyle Busch. Now at the beginning of the year, Kyle Busch was really good. All of a sudden, though, near the end of the season, Kyle Busch and contract talks started happening, and he lost his right to Joe Gibbs Racing, and now is going over to Richard Childress Racing. The contract stuff affected Joe Gibbs Racing, and that's why they're number 4 on the list, because they just kind of struggled at points, and they had a lot of drivers just have issues. Truex missed the playoffs. Kyle Busch got eliminated in the round of 16, and they only had one driver make the championship 4. For Joe Gibbs Racing, that is kind of unacceptable, and they sit number 4 on the list. In the number 3 position, we have Team Penske. Now, a lot of you are wondering why I have Team Penske number 3. They won the championship with Joey Logano. You're absolutely right. Team Penske did win the championship with Joey Logano, where Logano won 4 races. The only driver who scored more victories than Joey Logano was Chase Elliott, who we talk about here a little bit. But Joey Logano was not always up front, and there were points where Joey Logano did have a lack of runs and did struggle just a little bit, especially near the middle portion of the season. However, Logano got very lucky, and with the win-in-year-in system, how the race series goes, he did get a championship. Now, he definitely deserves a championship. I'm not implying he doesn't, but Logano was not definitely the best driver all season long. I would say he's probably about 3rd or 4th best throughout the season. Now, let's talk about Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney, he actually ended up only scoring, didn't score a win. Now, technically he won the All-Star race, but he didn't score a regular season win, and that's the first time that has happened since 2016, his rookie season. Now, he'll be looking to try to improve on that heading into next year by getting a couple wins, but he didn't win, but was very consistent. Austin Cindric, for a rookie, was very, very impressive. Cindric got a win in the Daytona 500 and was very consistent and nearly made it to the round of 8. But the reason I can't give them number 1 is just because the 2 teams I think overall that are ahead of him were better organizations throughout the season. So that's why I think Team Penske sits at number 3. In the number 2 position, we have Trackhouse Racing. If you would have told me Trackhouse Racing was going to be one of the best teams at start of 2022, if you would have told me that they were going to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams of the year at start of the year, I would have laughed at you. They were impressive this year. Trackhouse Racing scored 3 wins as an organization. That, of course, culminated with them winning 2 races with Ross Chastain, who had an incredible breakout year, had an incredible video game move at Martinsville, but also won in a great finish at Coda, and also won at Talladega by pretty much not doing anything. Daniel Suarez also was on the team, and he was very, very good as well. Daniel Suarez ended up scoring, like I said, his first career victory at Sonoma, and could have had a chance to get to the round of 8 if not for some power steering issues at the Charlotte Roval. But they were really strong throughout the season and showed a lot of progress and a lot of pace throughout the year. They're very, very impressive. I know some people are expecting the Trackhouse is going to end up struggling in 2023 based on the fact that they think they're going to fall off, but I don't think they're going to flounder. I think Trackhouse Racing is a team for the future. They're the new Chip Ganassi Racing, and I really believe that Trackhouse Racing is going to be one of the teams to be heading into next season. Now, I'm not expecting them to go out and win a championship next year. I think there's a good chance they could do it, but I'm not sure if they're going to go and win a championship. That being said, though, you've definitely got to watch out for Trackhouse heading into the 2023 season. And now we get to number 1, and I think a lot of you know what team that is. It is Hendrick Motorsports. Now, a lot of you are wondering why I've got Hendrick Motorsports in number 1. Well, it's very obvious. Hendrick Motorsports was the only team to score double-digit wins as an org. I believe they're the only team to score double-digit wins. Chase Elliott picked up 5 victories and was the regular season champion. Kyle Larson scored 3 victories here. While not as good as he was in 2021, where he scored 10 victories, he was still very consistent and had that really dominating win at Homestead. And also won at Auto Club, and also picked up a victory at Watkins Glen. And then you basically get to William Byron. While Byron struggled, he did get 2 victories and also picked it up near the end. And then Alex Bowman missed a part of the year, but he did come back at Phoenix at a pretty solid run. Well, he ended up getting wrecked out. But basically, I think Bowman will be one to watch next year. But when you look at Hendrick Motorsports as a whole, they also had big contract extensions for their teams. Chase Elliott picked up a contract extension at the day of the Daytona 500 through 2027. Kyle Larson picked up a contract extension through 2026, and William Byron picked up a contract extension through 2025. Hendrick Motorsports is set for the future, and they're always seen to be the team when it comes to new cars to be the top of their game. And Chase Elliott, like I said, was the best all season. So I think that Chase Elliott was the best. I think Hendrick Motorsports was the best team overall in 2022. So that is going to be it for the top 10 NASCAR teams of 2022. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Notifications on so be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. As for me on Patreon as well. List goes below over that. And combo your thoughts on today's video. What is your top 10 NASCAR teams in the Cup Series in 2022? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on my channel, we're going to have a NASCAR news video. We've got a lot of NASCAR news to catch up on over the last week. We'll be talking about that. Thursday will potentially be another team preview. We're going to have to wait and see. And I also expect that we'll have the NASCAR Cup Series predictions out sometime in the next couple days. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.